So look, I've been quite honest about my opinions of Fernando Alonso. I'm not his biggest fan, but I am open to having my mind changed. He is returning to F1, as we all know, in 21 with Renault. And I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing how it turns out for sure. Like, I'm certainly intrigued to see how he performs in the car, see if hopefully Renault sort their reliability problems out. But I was listening to some of the interviews that he was doing when this was all announced. And in one of them, he mentioned something. He'd like to see the blue back in the Renault when he was asked. And I think we all would. The 2005-6, particularly those two title-winning cars for Fernando. That livery was absolutely iconic. One of the greatest liveries of all time in terms of the consensus amongst people. So I thought, well, if Fernando was to get his wish and bring that light blue back to the Renault for 2021, how could that realistically look, right? Because obviously it's not going to have the sponsors and all that it did back then, but simply implementing the blue on top of what is already there, I think it'd be interesting to see. Anyway, enough waffling, let's get into it. First of all, I want to compare the 2005-6 car with the current, because actually I didn't realise this, but when you look into it, there is actually quite a lot of similarities between the two cars. Hear me out. Now, obviously, the 2020 Renault makes very selective use of yellow on the nose, and it's predominantly on kind of the front of the car, only really visible from top down. And then you've got the two yellow kind of streaks that go along the side. But from the side profile, it's pretty much all black. Well, you go back to the 2006 Renault, and again, from the top, that nose is dominated by yellow. The composition, there's more of it on the side than there is on the top, but there's still the composition, the same thing. And you've still got the two yellow stripes that kind of go along the back, and then the rest of the back of the car is dominated by a different colour. Now it's black, but back in the day, it was blue. Again, I didn't even notice these similarities until I looked at these two together, and you think, actually, no, fundamentally, they are pretty similar liveries. Now, also, one thing on the 2005-6 car, there's good use of navy in terms of on the rear wing, you've got the Telefonica branding, and then you've got that's pretty much all navy, and then you've got navy accents to kind of bring out the logos a bit more. Well, I'm not going to use navy because, again, Renault have embraced the black and red, and so I feel like it makes more sense to keep the black and not make it navy. Anyway, let's jump into what I've come up with. So obviously a nice baby blue base to start with. I've kind of matched it to the old car. I've made it a fraction darker, and I'll explain why in a bit, but it's not really noticeable in this. But anyway, let's build on top of it. If I jump into Photoshop, you can see that it is just all blue, double D, double die. So let's add the base colors to the car. We've got the black, again, instead of the navy, and we've got the yellow accents. Let's see how this looks on the motor. Here we go. Right, now it's looking much more Renault 2005, 2006. So again, I've kept these yellow kind of strips down the side, but I've kind of arced it down to follow this kind of the undulation of the car, just to fit the shape a bit nicer. On the front, again, in this Race Sim Studio model, we've got this standard front nose that we can't change. I think the 2020 Renault's nose is the best looking nose. That front angle is just beautiful. So I've tried to maintain the curvature and keep it looking nice and slim. The black kind of helps accentuate that there, and then we've got black running along the yellow again, just to accentuate that detail, make it stand out a little bit more. All blacked out the rear wing, got a black fin up there, and black elements on the front wing. All in all, I'm quite happy with the balance. I've also curved this here, and that kind of matches this line here. So it's got a lot of elegance to it. But anyway, this still just looks like a generic old livery, doesn't it? It won't look proper until we add the logos. So let's do that next. All right, back into Photoshop. Numbers, first and foremost, I've gone with the number 31 for Esteban Ocon. Obviously, he's the future of Renault. He will be in this car alongside Fernando. We don't know what Fernando's number is going to be yet. I'm assuming I don't even know what number Fernando's known for. I'll put it on the screen. Whether he'll get that or not, again, I don't know if it's taken, but whatever. I know Esteban's definitely going to be in this car. So I'll put number 31. And then the logos. Boom. All right. Okay. So, interesting. You can't really see in the Photoshop template what this all looks like on the car. So let's jump into the model. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. I must say, I am incredibly happy with how this looks. I think this looks very, very sick. Now, in terms of sponsorship placement, I've pretty much followed the 2020 car. In terms of the base elements, so the RCI Bank, Infinity, Map 3, Renault here, DP World on the front wing, all that kind of stuff. But obviously, I have made some changes as well to fit this kind of style of car a little bit better. The front wing has Castrol DP World, and then I've got the sponsorships line in the top. I love the way the Renault logo looks on the front of this car. I love it. I love the way it looks on the front of the actual 2020 car. For me, that looks amazing. Super nice. The 31, the style, I've kind of matched the style that they have currently. It's a slightly different font. I couldn't be asked to find the exact same one. But I like the use of the one little yellow fin at the top as well. I just felt that kind of accentuated the wing quite nicely with the black base as well. I could have added something down here potentially, but again, I didn't want to add too many logos. I didn't want to go too crazy. These side pods are identical to on the current car with DuPont and a Renault Sport logo up there. And again, Renault E-Tech, I've put that here. So there's a bit less attention drawn to it because, of course, the whole car is blue now rather than the current car just having the little blue bit with Renault E-Tech on it. We've got Castrol down here. Again, on the current car, they've got Castrol Edge along kind of breaking up into the yellow side bit. I've just put it along here, put a little stroke on it. I think that works quite nicely. And then, yeah, the rear wing, that's just kind of, that's all black with Renault on the back and then DP World Renault on the front. But yeah, man, all in all, I am very, very chuffed with how this has come out. I am not going to lie. Look, I'm not going to bother comparing this to the 2005 6 car because that one's iconic and I'm sure that will win. But do you think this looks better or do you think the 2020 black and yellow, simpler livery, which is more your cup of tea? Let me know in the comments below. I will put a poll, but they've deleted polls on YouTube now, so I can't do that anymore, can I? Also, if you do own a Assetto Corsa and you do have the F1 2020 model, then I will put a link to Race Department so you can download this skin if you would like to use it yourself. Been wanting to do this one for quite a while, so Fernando joining Renault, perfect opportunity for me to jump on this. So hope you've enjoyed it. Please, again, as always, smash that like button, forehead, toe, little finger, whatever, just make sure you click on it, okay? If you enjoyed this one, subscribe, notification bell, all that good stuff if you want to support my videos. Thank you everyone for watching. I do really appreciate it, and I hope I'm adding good value to your relaxation time, you know what I mean? Because we're all still in a bit of, it's not quite out of lockdown yet, but it's kind of coming back to normal. And obviously the season's back on, so we're all looking forward to Hungary this weekend. Thanks again, have a good one. Ta-da.